You've heard the words from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, but have you ever stopped to ask, what do they actually mean? Why those places? And why are they immortalized in the Marines' hymn? Today, we're uncovering the true stories behind those legendary lines, stories of distant wars, impossible odds, and the battles that helped define the U.S. Marines. And stick around to the end as I reveal a few little known facts of the Marines' hymn. So if you're ready, let's roll. These aren't just lyrics, they're a timeline etched into song that spans continents and conflicts. But we must point out that the hymn's first lines are not chronologically correct because the hymn would not have sounded correct if sung from the shores of Tripoli to the halls of Montezuma. Anyway, stay with me because once you know the history of these lyrics, you'll never hear the Marines' hymn the same way again. Our story begins in 1847 during the Mexican American War. The U.S. Marines, along with U.S. Army forces, were ordered to attack a fortress sitting high above Mexico City, the Chapultepec Castle, giving the name in the song From the Halls of Montezuma. But first, let's rewind a little bit more for some context as to why the battle even took place. You see, after the Texas Revolution of 1835 to 1836, when Texas became an independent nation, Texans began to experience years of border clashes with Mexico. This friction culminated in Texas accepting the U.S. offer to join the Union as the 28th state in 1845, which would help the territory through the larger economic and military power of the United States. The Texas government would formally join the U.S. on the 19th of February, 1846. Now, if you're interested to learn more about the Mexican American War, this might be a good time to let me know in the comments below, and I'll make an expanded video just on that topic. So now, just 2 months later, about 25th of April, 1846, after Texas had joined the U.S., General Zachary Taylor is sent to the disputed border area of the Rio Grande near the city of Matamoros, some 23 miles west of the Gulf of Mexico. The Mexican army then took an aggressive action and sent a 2,000-strong cavalry detachment to attack a 70-man U.S. patrol, all but wiping it out, killing or capturing 63 of those soldiers. This is where things really started to heat up. On the 13th of May, 1846, just 2 weeks after the near massacre of those U.S. troops, the U.S. Congress approved a declaration of war against Mexico. Interestingly enough, this government action was actually opposed by a freshman congressman from Illinois in 1847 by the name of Abraham Lincoln. So now here's the military strategy, and it is brilliant. Instead of reinforcing Taylor's army at the Rio Grande, President Polk shipped a second army under General Winfield Scott to the port of Veracruz, Mexico. This army of 12,000 volunteer and regular soldiers, including some 400 Marines, successfully offloaded supplies, weapons, and horses near the port city. After a 20-day siege, Veracruz fell to Scott's army, and his army moved inland towards Mexico City, fighting several smaller battles along the way. The American army arrived at the doorsteps of Mexico City in August, and the siege and eventual conquest of Mexico City would begin on the 8th of September, 1846. Still with me? All right, there's more. That brings us back to the Battle of Chapultepec Castle of the 13th of September, 1847. This fortress atop a 200-foot hill guarding Mexico's capital was, of course, heavily defended by Mexico's army. And that army was led by none other than General Lopez de Santa Anna, who had famously defeated the Texan army at the Battle of the Alamo in 1836. The approach to Chapultepec Castle was steep, casualties were expected to be high, but the 40 or so Marines, along with about 500 army soldiers, advanced anyway. Hoorah! They fought their way uphill, took the fortress, and helped open the gates to Mexico City, with the Marines suffering 90% casualties, including Marine Major Levi Twiggs, who had personally led the assault on the hill. He was just 54 and is buried at the Laurel Hill Cemetery in Philadelphia. So that's how the phrase from the halls of Montezuma became such a powerful symbol, as it represented not just a victory for the United States against Mexico, but the willingness of Marines to face impossible odds on foreign ground and quite a distance away from the sea. Now, let's rewind farther back in time to 1805 and travel to North Africa. At that time, American merchant ships, which were so vital to the new nation's economy, were being hijacked by pirates, mostly along the Barbary coast in the Mediterranean Sea, what's now present day Libya, and along North Africa's Atlantic coast. In 1804, U.S. President Thomas Jefferson ordered a small force of Marines to land in secret. This mission was successfully carried out on the 16th of February, 1804, by Navy Lieutenant Stephen Decatur, Jr., who led 75 volunteers disguised as British merchant sailors into the harbor at Tripoli to burn the American frigate, the Philadelphia. That ship had unfortunately run aground 2 years earlier and was captured by the Tripoli nation. The news of this amazing mission even reached the famous British Admiral Lord Nelson, who called the raid the most daring act of the age. On a side note, when the frigate Philadelphia was commissioned in 1800, it was commanded by Lieutenant Stephen Decatur's father, Captain Stephen Decatur Sr. Well, the Marines weren't done there. On the 27th of April, 1805, supported by a naval bombardment from the schooner Nautilus, the sloop of war Hornet, and the brig Argus, a force of about 400 men under the direction of William Eaton landed at Derna, the furthest point belonging to Tripoli. Among the force were 90 men of the Barbary states under Hamet Karmanli and 8 U.S. Marines, led by Lieutenant Presley O'Bannon. The Battle of Derna became the U.S. Marines' first battle and the country's first flag raising on foreign soil. This battle helped shape the identity of the Marine Corps as a force capable of operating anywhere in the world. So when Marines sing from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, they're not just remembering two distant battles from the 1800s. They're declaring a legacy of going where others won't, of enduring hardship, of representing the United States on foreign shores with discipline, strength, and resolve. These aren't just lyrics, they're a brotherhood code passed down through generations. And now I have some really fun facts to share with you. And I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, hit that like button and leave a comment. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. All right, number one, the Marines hymn is also known as From the Halls of Montezuma, with the music originally from the revised opera Genevieve de Brabant of 1867, written by Jacques Offenbach. Number two, the writer of the words to the hymn remains unknown to this day, but is believed to have been penned by a Marine himself serving during the war with Mexico. Number three, the Marine Corps secured a copyright on the song on the 19th of August, 1919, yet the hymn was not officially authorized by the United States Marines until 1929. Number four, later, the hymn passed into the public domain on the 1st of January 1930, meaning that it's no longer under the original copyright protection. Number five, originally the words to the fourth and fifth lines read, "We fight our country's battles on the land as on the sea," which was rewritten and approved by the Commandant of the Marine Corps on the 21st of November, 1942, to read, "We fight our country's battles in the air, on land, and sea," recognizing the expanding role of the Marine Air Wings during those early days of World War II. So there you have it. Now you know what those words really mean and the history and the sacrifice that they represent. If you found this video interesting, you may also like this next video. And as always, thank you for watching and supporting the channel.